Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the DeKalb Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for this Monday, October 21st, 2024. Could we start with roll call, please, Ms. Olivia?
Becker. O'Flaherty. Here. Pena Graham. Here. Wright.
Here.
McMahon.
Here.
Chair Maxwell.
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you very much. We'll move to the approval of the agenda. If there are any additions or deletions, if not, I will ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Moved by O'Flaherty, may I have a second? Second. Seconded by Wright. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Approval of the minutes from October 7th, 2024. Again, if there are any additions or deletions. If not, I will ask for a motion to approve.
So.
Moved by Pena Graham, may I have a second? Seconded by Wright. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. This is the public participation portion of the meeting. If there's anyone that would like to speak to anything that is not on the agenda, you may come forward now. If not, we will move on to new business. We have two items tonight. The first is a public hearing, a petition by Moore Acquisitions, LLC for the approval of the annexation, rezoning, and concept plan for approximately 147-acre property located at the northeast corner of Peace Road and Fairview Drive to allow for the construction of an approximately 1,322,800 square foot building with expansion as a logistics, manufacturing, packaging, distribution, and warehouse facility. Project Midwest. We have someone that would like to present.
Hello, I'm Jamie Krupp. I'm with the law firm of Krupp & Krupp. I represent Moore Acquisitions LLC, the developer of this project. We're seeking annexation of this farm and rezoning to PUDI for the purpose of building a facility to be used for warehouse logistics distribution of approximately 1.3 million square feet. My client is excited for this project. We've got a very good process with the city staff. We're not seeking any variances from the UDO. It will be a first-class facility. It will employ between 150 to 200 people. I can't disclose the identity of the end user at this point due to a non-disclosure agreement, which I'm sure you're aware of and used to in these projects. But this is consistent with development trends in the area, and it'll further enhance DeKalb's reputation as a hotspot for industrial activity and development. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has.
Thank you. We do have a speaker request form. Did you want
Go
to?
through my report.
Oh, that's what I was asking earlier. Yeah, please, Staff Report.
Yes, as Mr. Krupp mentioned, the site is requesting to be annexed. It's at the northeast corner of Peace Road. Fairview Drive, it's owned by 3M. Of course, to the west is Park 88 development. Our comp plan calls for industrial on this property. They're requesting the PDI, Planned Development Industrial District. Building is proposed at 1,322,800 square feet. Accommodate logistics, manufacturing, packaging, distribution, and warehouse uses. Also requests, as you see on the screen, the concept plan approval is proposed for this development called Project Midwest. There's an addition on the north end of the building. It's about 228,000 square feet for the future. Access is proposed a full truck access on Peace across Macon Drive. 2 access points on Fairview. One is the first, I guess the furthest one west is a employee visitor full access, and then another truck access further to the east on Fairview Drive. And the report notes the estimated number of parking spaces, trailer parking spaces that are proposed. Our parking regulations, it's based on number of employees, so 150 to 200 employees estimated. This time they're showing 380 parking spaces, and trailer spaces are noted there in the staff report. So it looks like there's plenty at this time, but again, once we see more detailed plans and be able to determine the number of parking requirements. We're also asking for 8-foot-high vinyl fence around the site. We've done this at Meta and Ferrera too. Utilities are in the area. There's actually sanitary sewer that runs along the north side of Fairview from Peace all the way through the site. And water line is along Peace Road, so utilities are nearby and accessible to the site. So they're asking for a concept plan at this stage. There will be what we're recommending is prior to any construction, be a preliminary final development plan submitted like we've done before, that will come back to the commission and go to the council also. Go through staff review. At that point, that will include engineering, a landscape plan, building elevations, and a lighting plan. There'll be a traffic study also required. Zach Gill, our city engineer, who's here, will review that. You'll look at the ultimate build-out, including addition, and look at what roadway improvements will be necessary on Peace and Fairview Drive based on the impacts of this development. The setbacks are pretty consistent with the Park 880 across Peace Road and also further down Peace Road in the Girdle Road area. So I have findings of fact. Again, the comp plan calls for industrial development for this area. This parcel meets all the standards for rezoning. Should be a big positive for the city. Adequate utilities in the area. For public input, we did receive an email from Richard Nolan and Sharon Rote. You can see here Project Midwest in red and no, Richard Nolan and Sharon Rote's property in yellow. Had questions on drainage. Zach and I met with them last week and answered all the questions on drainage. That we Zach can go more into that if there's any questions. There were no other public comments, written comments submitted, so sample motions prepared. Construction of the building, I kind of rounded up to 1.350 million square feet, 1,350,000 square feet, and a future expansion. Also included, so the concept plan is Exhibit A, the plan development standards Exhibit B. Would include the addition to further review of the city engineer to make sure the impacts are addressed. But the traffic study will ask for a full build out, so we'll look at the whole thing and stormwater too. So PDI zoning, minimum setbacks 100 feet from, this is parking setbacks 100 feet from Peace Road and 50 feet from Fairview. Buildings 175 feet from Peace and 150 feet from Fairview. So those are consistent with Park 88s and also down at the Golden property and areas down at Lone Girdler. And again, the requirement of preliminary final plans brought back to the commission for review. That will include engineering, landscaping, the building elevations, and a photometric plan. Traffic study will be required to at that time to determine what road impacts there will be. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have regarding this.
Thank you. As I mentioned, we have someone that would like to speak to this, Richard Larson, who would step forward, simply announce your name and your address, please.
Thank you. My name is Richard Larson. I live at 12284 Fairview Drive, which is behind Mr. Gill's head on the drawing. Well, that's not the one that was there a minute ago. There I am, right here.
Is that right?
The western edge of my property is approximately 0.2 of a mile from the eastern edge of the subject property. I realize that we're only talking about a concept plan at this time, but I'd like to share my concerns about these two outlets on Fairview Drive. For those of you who aren't familiar with the area, Fairview Drive is a 2-lane blacktop road that developed over time. It was originally a gravel road. It was never properly constructed as a highway. As it exists today, it simply is comprised of layers of pavement and then blacktop over it. It is not amenable to truck traffic to any great extent, certainly not trucks entering and leaving through the proposed outlets that we see on the concept plan. I realize as a neighbor, I will also possibly have some concerns about berms and landscaping and all of that sort of thing. And I realize that will come as the development proceeds. But I would ask the commission to take a close look at this egress and ingress onto Fairview Road. You do have Macon Drive, you've got a stop sign, you've got turn lanes already. I would urge that that should be the primary access point to the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
Zach,
Zach, would you like to address that?
Sure. So everything you mentioned will be influenced by the traffic impact study, which has not even been started, let alone met my review. So any externalities from traffic will be dictated by that traffic impact study. That includes what's currently there as a roadway. So they'll do pavement cores and they'll have to attest to me there's X amount of aggregate, there's X amount of asphalt here, so on and so forth. There's a mechanistic pavement design method that will tell them it's not my choice, it's not their choice, it's a standard. They'll say for this amount of vehicles at this rate of this nature of vehicle, this is what you'll have to build there. So that'll be determined by that. As you've seen in the area, Girdler Road was very similar to what Fairview Drive is now. Girdler Road is now 3 lanes wide and has 11 inches of asphalt on top, 12 inches of aggregate base there. Again, that wasn't their choice, that wasn't my choice, that's what the standard dictates, and we hold them to that. That is 100% at the developer's expense. This is not a taxpayer funded thing. If they want to develop this, to do this, they're welcome to do so and meet those standards at their expense. So that's how we'll handle that. The actual ingress and egress nature of it, yes, I would anticipate the vast majority of certainly truck traffic is going to utilize what they already have as a concept there. Again, I don't know the nature of the use of this. It's not at the point where there's any materials for me to ask. Sometimes we see that as emergency exits. Ferrara had one. It's not intended to be used regularly by the trucks. It's in case of something catastrophic or anything. If that was bottlenecked there, or if the fire department needed to respond, they do still need to have some sort of access to get back to those areas. So that's common what we see there. I can say that's what they're intending. I do know that's quite a good stretch on Peace Road there. However, with Peace Road being the arterial that it is, we don't want to have too many of these uncontrolled exit and access points. You can imagine if you had 150 people all trying to make a left turn on Peace Road to go to the tollway, stuck in the middle of Peace Road, that's going to create quite a bit of havoc there. And so being on a side road, then accessing it through full signalization often is preferable, at least for the personal vehicles of the employees, because they leave in such a chunk, you know. So again, all those materials will have to come through my office, and those will all be shared at the time of the second hearing.
Thank you, Zach. I assume that once we find out how many shifts and or hours of operation, that's taken into consideration too.
So the traffic impact study is based on a trip generation manual. So you tell me you're putting in McDonald's, you tell me you're putting in a nail salon, you tell me you're putting in whatever. There are tried and true research methods on that. They don't get to make it up. They don't get to say there's 150 people, but half of them don't. You know, I mean, if they have X square feet of this use, there's a chart that says this will be X amount of people and this will be their peak hour. And that's what we are most concerned with. When is this most impacted, this externality to the public roadway? And so again, that's all straightforward stuff. It'll all be available to both the committee, and I'll review it for thoroughness.
Thank you, Zach. Did that help answer your question, Mr. Larson?
Well,
And obviously, again, please understand, this is preliminary, as we had said.
yeah,
And the traffic study will be there.
to be seen as it develops.
Okay.
But I mean, I just, you know, Mr. Gill mentioned people making left turns off of Peace Road. But under this plan, they'd be making left turns off of Peace Road onto Fairview.
No, I said onto Peace Road.
I'm sorry?
I said onto Peace Road.
I'm sorry.
So if this employee parking area were to say have a curb cut, you know, somewhere on there, I'm saying they would be looking to make a left probably to get back to some of these other arterial routes. And particularly that close to a signal, but not utilizing the signal can be problematic as well. So we'll have to look at all, and that is where judgment comes into it on my end. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Jonathan?
No, I'm not.
Okay, and if there are other comments, we'll close the public hearing and
I
open.
don't know if there's any.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did anyone else like to speak to this?
Not at this time. I just want to say, I'm Lynn Ferris. John and I live at the little square that's cut out there. So we're just kind of here right now for information,
Okay.
because we're right in the middle of it.
Okay, again, if there's no other comments or questions, I'll close the public hearing and open it up to comments and questions from the commission.
I mean, so this is just preliminary, just planning. I mean, it's going to be, it matches the uses of the parcels around it. The traffic study could address the roadway issues, whatever they may or may not be.
In those traffic studies can cost upwards of $30,000. There's a reason these applicants don't just do that now and then have everyone just say no, and then they throw that money in.
Right,
In the waste
right.
basket. So that's why we're stepping through it at this
Okay.
rate, so.
We did this similar to the Golden property where we annexed the national council
Right.
plan. Wasn't even an end user.
Mhm.
They came back earlier.
And there is a end user now. Okay. Well, that's nice to know.
Yeah, I mean, the traffic was my first concern as well, just based on, again, as we was questioning how many shifts there will be, what the hours of operation are, but thank you for explaining that.
And along the lines of that, I mean, not to get too in the weeds, but the recent upgrades that were made at Peace and Fairview Drive, those anticipated that there will most likely be stuff necessary on the east side. But again, I wasn't going to appropriate public funds to pay for that and have them get a free turn lane on out of our road funds. So that's why when you see that, you see, boy, they put all these, a right turn lane, which is direly needed, going on to Fairview. The reason we didn't touch that side is because we believe the private development end should bear those costs on public.
Well thought.
Did you get into detail about the drainage issues with the other neighbor?
We did, yes, we discussed that one. So what's shown now, obviously you see there's an area that's largely undeveloped here, even as far as the build out is projected as undeveloped conceptually. The general topography of the area, I just have some county LiDAR information, but there are there's a handful of low points. One of them is there, which is kind of a low point in that road. It's actually shared by that property as well. And so you can see where the ditch is all kind of pulled down to a low point there. So as you see there, I imagine, again, I have nothing to base this on until they provide me a site drawing, but that those parking lots will be collected and drained down into these ponds here. This will probably be undisturbed. I can't believe they're going to continue to have it leased for agricultural purposes. I don't know, maybe they're going to plant it all as grass seed or who knows, but I doubt there would be any significant topographical changes on this portion from what we're seeing displayed here today. There is adequate drainage facilities as we get into, I mean, the Peace Road right-of-way has a quite significant ditch network, so on and so forth. So I don't imagine there's be anything unfeasible about doing that. There's about 6 feet of fall across the site, so when you get from this area to that area, there's about, I think it was about 6 feet of fall, so it certainly is within the target range of feasible,
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else? All right. Yeah, I mean, knowing that this is our first glance at it, and then we'll see the more granular version later, I will ask if someone would like to motion to approve.
I can make a motion. Say, based upon the submitted petitions and testimony presented, I move the Planning and Zoning Commission forward its findings of fact and recommend to the City Council approval of the rezoning upon annexation from the SFR1 Single Family Residential District to the PDI Planned Development Industrial District for the subject property located at the northeast corner of Peace Road and Fairview Drive for the construction of an approximately 1,350,000 square foot building and a future expansion to accommodate logistics, manufacturing, packaging, distribution, and warehouse uses per the concept plan prepared by Willett Hoffman and Associates dated 9/13/24 and listed as Exhibit A and is subject to the plan and development standards listed in Exhibit B.
So motion by McMahon, may I have a second? Seconded by Wright, may I have a roll call, please?
O'Flaherty, Yes.
Amy Graham,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Chair Maxwell.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. The second item we have tonight is a public hearing, a petition by Brittany Humphrey and Glenn Runkle to approve, for approval of a variance to the Unified Development Ordinance to follow a 5-foot-high open fence in a portion of the front yard along Northern Lane for the property located at 604 Normal Road. Do you have a presentation or a staff report?
The applicant's here?
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, if you would just state your name and address.
My name is Glenn Runkle. My address is 604 Normal Road here in DeKalb.
Yeah, that's fine.
We just moved into this beautiful house. Super excited, happy to be back in DeKalb. When we purchased the home, we were really hoping to attach a fence to the back half of the property. We didn't quite understand the 2 front yard situation with the corner lot, but we do know that there are other properties in the area that have fences. One of them actually has the 5-foot fence that we're looking at.
Okay,
Could you go out in the hallway, please?
all right, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. There are properties, including the one across from Northern from us that has a fence. Theirs is 4 foot. There's a house on Garden that has a 5-foot black aluminum that we were hoping to put in. The problem we have is we need the fence for our dogs, but unfortunately, we do a lot of training with our dogs, and our dogs are very capable of jumping 4 feet, unfortunately. So we were hoping to get a variance to get the 5 foot to help mitigate the chances of any dogs escaping. And we were hoping to do what I guess is a see-through fence instead of a privacy fence, which they would be able to use as leverage to get over. So yeah, in the photo here you could see I put up a little cheap garden fence there to give you an idea of where the fence would run. It's approximately 14 feet from the road. There's currently no sidewalk, just a line of trees and brush between the property and the road.
Good, thank you, Mr. Warfel. Do we have a staff report?
Yes. As Mr. Runkle noted, the variance is, you can see his ladder corner lot in Normal and Northern Lane. Other corner lot he wants, so on corner lots for open fences, which he's proposing, you can go up to 4 feet in height and be in front of the house. Mr. Runkle wanted a 5-foot high fence. He felt that was what he needed to contain the dogs that he has. So he was aware if he went down a foot, he could have got a permit, but wanted to do it right and make it useful. So as you can see, here's the house here. He's going 25 feet from the corner down to the property line, and then across will probably be a gate there, 5 foot high, of course, and about 5 feet from the eastern property line and up, and then connecting to existing fence there. So part of the front yard. This is a little detail what he's proposing, a nice wrought iron fence. This is a pretty good picture that shows where the proposed fence would go. This is the property line here, so it's about 14 feet to the edge of the pavement. So the fence is not going to be on the edge of the pavement. There's no sidewalk along Northern Lane. You can see the distance back from the roadway. And the little yellow orange ribbon shows the approximate fence location there. That's a garage there looking from Northern Lane. Again, the fence would be behind those trees. This is a house to the east, and that's further back. You see the vegetation, so there's no visibility issue with the neighbor's yard here. Yeah, so that's the background. We believe it meets the criteria, meets a hardship, particularly with the impact on the surrounding neighborhood. There is a, you kind of see it here, a 4-foot open fence just across the street. Yeah, you kind of see it here. This is looking east on Northern. They got a permit for it, but it's 4 foot high open. But you can see the amount of area between the property line and the street in Northern Lane. So their fence would come generally kind of this area too. So we feel it meets the criteria for the variance and recommend approval. In terms of public comment, we did get a email from Karen Matz and John Skoronsky, 591 Garden Road. They noted a concern if the fence would cause a safety reducing bottleneck. I think they thought the property line was at the edge of the pavement. I did respond, there's a copy in your packets in that response. The state of Northern Lane, or they thought Northern Lane is too narrow, no sidewalks, but I explained they're going to be 14 feet off the edge of the pavement into the property, so there's adequate room there, it won't cause any bottleneck or anything. So, and then since the agenda was posted on Thursday, we got 2 emails in support. Those are in front of you tonight. From Barry Taylor at 614 Normal Road, I think that's 2 houses north. And then also Maureen Dravers, 595 Normal, both of those indicating support. So there's a sample motion prepared. Happy to answer any questions.
And again, if there's anybody else that would like to speak to this issue, if not, I'll close the public hearing and open it up for comments and questions from the commission.
An easy one. Fence will look nice, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like the concept of the
Yeah,
wrought iron
I
sort
kind
of
of like the
opening
tiny
that
fence too.
serves your purpose, and it's a nice nod to your neighbors to still have that line of sight too. So.
Yep.
Okay, if no other questions, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion. Based on the submitted petition, testimony presented, and findings of fact, I move that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve a variance to Articles 7.06.4.b and 7.06.6 of the Unified Development Ordinance to allow a 5-foot-high open fence in a portion of the front yard along Northern Lane for the home at 604 Normal Road, as shown on the site plan and fence detail labeled as Exhibit A of the staff report dated October 17th, 2024.
Motion by O'Flaherty, may I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Peony Graham. Could I have a roll call, please, Ms. Olivia?
O'Flaherty,
Yes.
Peony Graham,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Chair Maxwell.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Happy training.
Thank you.
Do you have a staff report on what's coming up in the year,
Yeah.
short, long term?
At our next meeting, November 4th, will be at the library. There's one hearing. We have the proposed annexation, rezoning concept plan approval for solar farm at Route 38 and John Hoover Parkway. We took a look at the concept plan in March on that, so they've come back pretty much with the same plan. So that's our one hearing on the 4th. We should be able to have, I think, at least one item on the next meeting. I think the 18th will be back here, but you'll get a copy of that. At the last council meeting on October 14th, this past Monday, the council did approve the NIU Center for Greek Life, the rezoning of the plat. So
Nice.
actually we're closing the property today.
Wonderful.
Nice.
So that's all I have.
All right, well, that was quick. If there's nothing else, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Mr. Wright, may I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Peony Graham. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you very much, folks.